Hi, my name is Victoria, and how Jesus has changed my life has been a long journey. Looking back over my life, I see that He has relentlessly pursued me, and it's kind of a long courtship love story. And when I was young, I had an understanding of who God was. I knew that there was a God, and I knew the Christmas story. But we didn't attend church very regularly. In high school, I ended up moving to Georgia in the Bible Belt, right smack dab in the middle. And I ended up staying for my college. And looking back, I think is amusing. I chose a Christian college. And one of the things I loved about being there was I would get a weekly newsletter in my box, and looking back, I realized that was actually a devotional. It was a scripture, it was a prayer, it had a little study and some encouraging quotes and notes that were in there. And every week I looked forward to those, and I saved every single one of them for my 4 years being at my university. After graduating, I moved back to San Diego, and my aunt and my mom had become Christians when I was in college, and my aunt just kept asking and asking for me to go with her to church, and finally I went, and shortly after that gave my life to the Lord. So it wasn't a very dramatic beginning. I would say about a year into my walk with the Lord, I did something that I felt was horrible. I sinned, and I was really struggling with, why did I do that? If I say I'm a Christian, why did I do that? So my whole foundation was just kind of rocked. And I went to a ladies' retreat and realized over that weekend I had a choice. I could either believe what I'd been studying for the last year and believe that God loved me and He really could forgive me, or that it was for everybody else but not me. So after wrestling over the weekend through that, I finally decided to make the choice that yes, I do believe God. I do believe Jesus died for me, and He still loves me even if I make mistakes. And about a week later, after making that decision, I went with some friends sailing, and we sailed out past Point Loma. We were in the middle of the ocean, and my crazy friends decided, let's go jump off and swim in the ocean. And I was like, no way. And then finally I dove into the water, and I had such a amazing experience. Like as soon as my hands hit the water and I dove in, I heard the Lord very clearly tell me He has taken my sins and put them at the bottom of the ocean. And when I came up out of the water and I looked out over the horizon with the land behind me, the scripture came to me that He's removed my sins as far as the east is from the west. And floating in the ocean, all of a sudden I realized, wow, that is so far, and it is so deep down there, and His love and His forgiveness just impacted me so greatly. And so moving forward, I was able to, in my life, realize that when I make a mistake, because I'm going to make mistakes. Everyone does, even after you get saved, that He loves you and He loves me, and He always wants to have a relationship with me. So I don't have to be worried. I don't have to walk in fear or shame or guilt. And I think that's the biggest thing that has changed in my life, is knowing that I am rooted and grounded deeply in Him, and He loves me so much that there isn't anything I can do that's going to make Him walk away from me. So I think my confidence in my eternal life and just in my walk with Him here, I just realize is huge. So that's the part I think that most has changed for me, my ability to recognize how much I'm loved, and that there's nothing I can do that's going to shake that for Him.
Hi, I'm Johnny Walsh, and knowing Jesus has changed every aspect of my life. I used to be engulfed in always thinking about what everyone else thought of me and how I didn't measure up and how I didn't come to be what I felt everyone else needed me to be or wanted me to be. And a lot of that was even how I felt God wanted me to be and how short I fell of that. And when I really, truly encountered Jesus, I saw who I really was. I saw how much he loved me. And I saw how much I was worth. I saw that fear was something that I didn't have to live with. I saw that I was loved and I'm beloved. And that, honestly, that God hasn't given me a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. And I sit here today with a sound mind, feeling the power of his love. And so it's changed everything. Tangible things like Papa took away my PTSD anxiety disorder. Like I have 2 doctors and, past receipts of, medicines that I had to take, to prove it. But like, I don't have to prove it. I live it. And I'm at peace. He's helped me communicate to others by allowing me to come into intimacy with him so he could communicate who I truly was. So knowing Jesus, it's everything to me. It is me. My relationship with him is everything.
Hi, I'm Rosie, and this is how Jesus has changed my life. So since I'd say about the beginning of last year, I was really praying and asking God to bring people into my life, especially people in the church that I could just connect with. I just felt kind of alone, and I just wanted new people in my life that would bring more positivity and joy and happiness. And it took me a long time to realize that God did bring that into my life. I'm just now realizing that this is what he's been doing. He's answered my prayers. Over the past year, all these new people from church who are a little older than me, my age, I've just now have this great group of people around me who have really helped me learn to see life in a different way, in a more happier way. These people bring so much joy to me, and I know that God knew that these are the people I needed in my life, and I'm really grateful for that. And through these people, I've also learned how to see people differently outside of church in my own life. I feel like I see more of the positive side of things and how Jesus sees people than I did before, which is amazing. I'm always trying to think of the positives, which can be hard, and I'm still working on it, but I feel like I see the beauty in people more, and it's just something I'm really grateful for. And along with these friends, they've also helped me realize, and God has helped me realize, that there aren't any limitations to anything. People have also noticed this lately, and it's something I've been really reflecting on about myself, that I don't see limitations to anything like other people do. When people say, let's go on a trip, or let's go do something, or I have this dream, I'm always the one to hype them up or say that there's no limit to it. And for myself, I can't think of a time when I wanted to do something and I didn't do it because I thought the money would be a problem or time. I just know that God will always provide, and that there will always be a way to do anything. And I know that's because I've learned throughout the last couple years that with God, there's no limits with him, and he's always going to bring the right people in at the right time who are going to make your life better for all his glory.
Hi, my name's Lynette, and this is how knowing Jesus has changed my life. Growing up in the church, Jesus has always been around for me, but it was through summer camp one year when we were all sitting around the fire and a counselor got up and he created this beautiful picture with hills and streams and a few birds. It was all created with pastels. And he's telling the story about this beautiful creation, and all of a sudden he slashes through the picture with brown stripes, and he says, you guys, this is life. This is like life. No matter what happens, what comes your way, or even what you do, Jesus will come, and his hands are moving the whole time as he's speaking. Jesus will come in, and if you accept him into your heart, he will make all things beautiful. And lo and behold, the picture is transformed, and those strikes that had gone through this beautiful picture became wonderful trees. And I can't express how many times in my life there's been beauty and just wonder that has come about because of that moment right there when I knew that this Jesus had to be in my heart, and I had to know him forever. So all throughout my life, I can look back, and even now, even today, there's just such beauty and wonder and amazing things in my life, all because of this. And that's how Jesus has changed my life.
Hi, my name is Paul, and how Jesus has changed my life is, I don't even know where to begin, actually. There's so many things God has done for me, and every day is a new day. Jesus is so amazing, and I was lost and hopeful, and needed him in my life, and he's totally transformed my ways, transformed my life, transformed the way I look at life, transformed the way I look at people, my workplace, just my every day-to-day, just waking up with Jesus. And I'm just so thankful for him, and he has totally transformed my way of thinking, and ultimately has changed my life from the inside out. I love him for that. I'm so grateful to have Jesus in my life. Every day is a resurrection day for me. I'm just blessed. If I was to pick one particular thing that Jesus has done for me, is he changed my heart. He changed my heart for people, and it's not closed off anymore to accepting people and people's ways and things like that. I'm more open to being able to understand people, whether they know Jesus or not, and I'm able to share the gospel and Jesus, the love of Jesus, with them ultimately. But yeah, it's just such a big question. It's just such a big, there's so much more to say, I guess is what I want to say. But yes, that's how Jesus has changed my life. He's changed my heart. He's changed my way of thinking. He's ultimately changed me from the inside out, and I'm blessed. Yeah, that's how Jesus has changed my life.
Hi, my name is Nikki, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about how Jesus has changed my life. There's so many things I could tell you, but today I want to just focus on one. I was brought up in a Christian home. My dad was a pastor all of my life, and so I was surrounded by church and people in the church. So I knew a lot about the Lord growing up. And then when I hit 18 years old, I made some choices that led me to getting pregnant. And being pregnant and a pastor's daughter was not a popular thing. And so it led me to some hard times in my life. And walking through my pregnancy, it was a struggle because there were some people in the church who just really gave me a hard time for it and gave my family a hard time for it. And so it caused me to have a little bit of anger and really deep sadness. And for some reason, I turned that to the Lord because I took it as the Lord being angry with me and not loving me. And then there was a particular case where somebody approached my dad, who was the pastor at the time, and wanted him to make me go up in front of the church and confess what I had done and ask for their apology and things like that. And so my dad met with that person, and his response to him was, if you think my daughter should do that, that's fine, but I'll follow her in line and then you should go next. And there was a group of people in the church who rallied around my dad and rallied around me and just loved on me so hard that I couldn't help but see Jesus through it. It changed my life forever. if my own dad could love me that much to do that for me, how much more does my Father in heaven love me? And just in that moment and in that time in my life, I was changed forever because I truly seen Jesus as my Father, and that he loved me so much that it doesn't matter what the people here say, it matters his heart for me. And I was already forgiven. I was his daughter, and he was about to do the same for my daughter who was going to be born. And that love that I felt has truly changed me forever. I've seen people in a different light. I don't hold people up to that status where I make them be who God is in my life. I leave that to him. And I'm so thankful that I got to go through that to really, really know who Jesus is as my Father. And I'm happy to share that with you today.
Hi, my name is Alicia, and how has knowing Jesus changed my life? Well, I would say that before I knew Jesus, I thought that I was good. I thought life was good. I felt like I had a relationship with God, and although there were some ups and downs throughout life, I was pressing along and had hope and feeling positive. And then my life pretty much turned upside down. A lot of things changed, and although I still felt positive and hopeful, I was depressed. I was having health issues, and I just felt horrible. I didn't really know what I kept thinking, like, I don't know what the reason is for this. And about that time in my life, I knew God was saying there's more. And so it was like, I hear you, Lord. So I got to pay attention to this. And through a series of divine appointments, God continued to speak to me about that, continued to draw me in. And I finally reached a point where I was like, okay, around that time, the Bible verse, Proverbs 3:5-6 came into play. Somehow I can't even remember how I first heard it. And it spoke to me. Lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him and he will guide your path. And it was like, aha, I thought I knew you, but now it's time to know you. Now it's time to hear what you want to say to me and not just what I think or what other people are telling me. And from then on, my life has changed completely. I have realized that there were some lies that I was believing. I realized that there was a lot of fear in my life, fear of people, fear of circumstances. And now that I have come to know Jesus, I have experienced a level of freedom and understanding of who I am, who I'm created to be, who God is. And I just feel like my eyes have been opened to even more beauty, even greater levels of beauty in myself and in others in the world around me. And yeah, so I think that's how Jesus has changed my life.